is setting up now.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our Homebuyers seminar today. So the question of the day is to buy or not to buy. Is now a good time to to actually buy a home? So I do have Jay Apparel here from TAM Lending. Say hello to everyone, Jay. Jay. Okay, we're having a little technical difficulty with Jay right now, but whenever you get a chance, Jay, just kind of chime in and say hello to us. What we wanted to talk about today is just the things that are affecting us that are making people question, like, should we, go out and buy a home now, or should we not go out and buy a home now? So one of the things that we're looking at is the pandemic is going on, right? So that's something that would be of concern. Next thing is that prices are up. So, well, people feel that prices are up. So, home prices are a little higher and they're really in a good space right now. So, want to make sure that we talk about that. Also, obviously, the unemployment is being affected because so many places are closed down. So, just want to make sure we can work on that. And then we'll talk a little bit about, you feel like you don't have enough money saved. So, maybe that's an aspect. Anybody else want to chime in with anything else that they think would say that now is not a good time to buy a house? Or why people are thinking now is not a good time to buy a house? Jay, I'm going to give you a chance to chime in now if you can. I can't believe we lost him. All right, so here's what I want to do. So the pandemic, although it is affecting our industry, the number one thing that we all know is we need a place to live. No matter what's going on in the world, we need a place to kind of call home, to stay safe, stay warm, out of the elements. So the pandemic is not really hindering the home buying process. What I also always recommend, for my sellers is we have just basic things set in place. So you can, we're going to obviously take safety precautions when we're going out to look at houses. We're going to wear our gloves, we're going to wear masks, and just make sure that we stay safe overall. So definitely the pandemic is not affecting us in a way that we thought it would, especially in the housing market. And I think one of the reasons is because, everybody needs a place to live. So people are still going to, be looking for a place to live. But here's the number one reason right now that people are looking to buy a home and why it is a great time for you to buy a home. It's because interest rates are down. They're down at all-time lows, and you can get a lot more house for your money because of that. And once the interest rates go back up, we don't foresee them coming down to this level again anytime in the foreseeable future. So I would definitely want you all to just take a minute to talk to a mortgage rep, and or a realtor like myself, to see if now is the right time for you. Some of us, you might have, your lease is not going to end for another 6 months. So you're feeling like, well, maybe I should, wait until, the 4 months out to start looking. But I think it's never too late to start preparing. So you want to start preparing now. So, one of the things that we would definitely want you to do is to come and get yourself set up for a private consultation. So, myself and Jay, if you're registered for the seminar, you want to make sure that you get yourself. Let us know in the comments field that you're going to want to have a private consultation. So we'll talk specifically to what your needs are. So another thing, what I wanted to do is just talk about some things. And Jay, if you can hear us, hopefully at some point you can chime in at any time. So some of the questions that come up is you always hear when you go to look at a home, you have to be what we call pre-approved or have a mortgage pre-qualification. And what that means simply is that you've sat down with a mortgage agent and they have told you that this is how much money you can purchase a house for, and this is based on your credit score and how much income you make and a couple of other little things. And the benefit of getting a pre-approval is that when you go out and shop, and a pre-approval is very different. It means that the bank has actually looked at your credit, looked at your income, and looked at all the things that they need to give you the approval for a mortgage. Because if a pre-qualification just means they've done the basics, just took the icing off the cake, they haven't really started eating the cake yet. And what you wanted to do is when you have a pre-approval, you can actually go out and buy a home, and the homeowner knows that they've checked everything that they need to check on you, and the chances of your mortgage not being approved are slim to none. So it puts you in a better buying position if you're bidding on the same house as someone else who only has a pre-qualification. So I think right now the interest rates are between 2.75 and 3.5%, and it really is going to be dependent on your credit score. So that's something that the mortgage agent would be able to talk to you about. And once again, like I said, because the home buying process is, even with the pandemic, the interest rates are low. There's no, payments are much lower. For most people, you end up paying less for a mortgage than you would if you had, paid rent. So that is a win-win because the property is yours. You get the tax advantages, and you get, in the end, with the money that you're paying, eventually you will pay that property off, and all you're paying are the taxes. So just imagine if you're paying rent, you're paying $1,500 to $1,800 a month, and then in 25 years, you don't have to pay that money anymore. Just imagine how wonderful that is. And you can now go on vacations, get yourself that fancy car that you always wanted, whatever you want to do, save for retirement, different things that you can do. So once again, that's another yes, now is a great time to go out and buy. But like I said, we want to make sure that you are doing your due diligence to make sure that you're prepared. So I guess another question that I have here is now a good time to get a mortgage, right? And that's just questions that people have kind of popped up and given us. And I would say now is definitely a good time to get a mortgage. With the rates being at an all-time low, why not? Why not actually just do the inquiry? It costs you nothing to make the phone call and run through your scenario with a good mortgage rep, and talk to a realtor about what's available, what you're looking for as far as how many rooms, how many bathrooms. Do you want a condo? Do you want a single family house? Do you want to live in a neighborhood with schools and lots of parks, or do you want to live near something with nature trails because you love to walk and you love to bike? So you want to kind of take a look at all of these things, and then me as your realtor can help you make a decision on whether now is a good time for you. And also, if you're thinking that, hey, you want to buy, but maybe you don't want to buy in New Jersey, maybe you want to buy in North Carolina, you can still talk to us, because the thing is, I can hook you up with another realtor in North Carolina, and the mortgage rep can just give you the information that you need, and pretty much it's transferable. So if you're, Jay definitely does national loans. So if you want to move to North Carolina, he can help you with that. Once we, find out that you are going to be eligible, then we can help you with that. So I'm looking at a couple of questions that we have here. Here's one. If your credit score is a 600, can you get a mortgage? Now, what has happened is with the pandemic, we have had a lot of rules tightened. There's a lot of companies that if you're at a 620, used to be the minimum credit score. Some people have raised it up to 640 now is the minimum credit score. But with the 600, I know that Jay does have a few programs that you can possibly get into. With the credit score, it's going to be dependent on what your credit situation is, but that's something that we can talk to you about. Another thing that we can do for you is, even though your credit score is a 600, we can take a look at why is it a 600, because it might be something that we can easily fix. And guess what? 30 days from now, you are ready to buy a home, but you never know until you check. So once again, is now a good time to buy a home? I would say absolutely yes. Now is a good time to buy a home. The interest rates are low. I'm going to repeat that again and again and again. And if you do nothing else, call a realtor, call a mortgage broker, and find out if you can qualify for a mortgage. That is the first step. We all get real nervous. And I was there with you guys, when you're going out to buy a home, and you know what your credit situation is, and you're like, oh, but I owe student loans. Will I really qualify? Oh, but I got a car payment and I don't want to pay a car payment and also, pay for a mortgage. But if you're paying rent and a car payment, what's the difference? Right now, at this point, it's minimal. So you really just need to find out if that is going to be the thing that you need. And if you don't have kids, when I was younger, before I started a family, I went to go get my taxes done. And I was just paying Uncle Sam a lot of money because I had no kids and no property. So that was the one thing that my accountant recommended. And I went out and started looking for a house. So I would recommend that too. It's a good investment for you for the future. And you don't have to go out and buy a single family home. Remember, you have condos, you have other things that will not require you to actually take care of the home. So I want to take a look at that too. So I have a couple of, let's see, I'm trying to look. I don't know if we have any questions on Facebook because I can't see those. So if anybody can look at Facebook for me and let me know what those questions are, that would be great. So another question here is, what if I don't have any money saved up? Well, you are going to definitely need some money for closing. And what you can do is, we have something that we would work with you. Sometimes there are programs available depending on the area. There's some areas that are trying to encourage, people with families, people who are single. They're just trying to encourage people to move into the town, and they kind of want to build the town up, and open up, well, because they can open up more businesses. If you have a great amount of people there, you can encourage people to come and open a bakery in town, open up any kind of business in town, because you have the people to support the business. So sometimes when you don't have enough money saved, we have different programs that are available depending on the area that you're looking in, that would allow you to get some subsidies. And then we do have something that we work with sellers that would allow you to get some money to put towards your closing costs too. So don't let that deter you. Once again, now is a good time to buy a home. So you want to make sure that you are ready, and we can answer any questions that you want. So I'm looking here to see if I have any other questions. And I'm going through. So I have a question here. If you decide that you want to think about, looking into buying a home, what kind of things are required? What information are you going to need to share? Paycheck stubs, one. Tax returns. If you have any kind of judgments, it happens, people. Sometimes we have things that we didn't pay. I know me, especially when you were in college and, they sold you those China sets. I don't know. I'm kind of aging myself now, so just forget that you heard that. But you would have things that people have judgments against you. So you kind of have to prove that you paid that stuff off, things of that nature. So you have your tax returns, your paycheck stubs, usually sometimes your W-2s, which will kind of coincide with your tax return and show that. And that's pretty much it as the basic documents to get you started. So I'm looking to see if I have any other questions. Anybody on the line have a question? You can type it in the chat or just take yourselves off mute and ask your question. And right now we are doing our private consultations via Zoom. So we can keep it safe and social distancing, but it allows you to ask whatever you need to ask in order to get yourself, see if you are ready for prime time playing. And even if we don't have you, if you're not ready today to buy a home, what we can do is basically give you your timeline. We can say, okay, if you do this, this, and this with your credit, by next summer, you'll be ready. Just remember that these interest rates are low, but they're probably not going to get back up to the 5 and 6% levels until the end of next year. So you still have time to take advantage of that. And I do have a book about the home buying process that I will give you as a free gift just for registering. So if you register here, send us your information. I will get that out to you. I am going to put it in the link later on so that you'll have access to it. You just have to give us your information and I'll get that out to you. All right, so I have a question here. How long can you expect the entire home buying process to take from the first consultation to the closing date? That is an excellent question. So if everything is aligned, I would say 60 to 90 days. And let me go through that with you. So today you sit down with me and your mortgage consultant and you have a consultation. We find out, great, your credit score is great. We know what kind of homes you want to look at. And we want to go ahead and figure out, well, what area do you want to live in? And then we start sending you homes. So we go and figure that's going to take us about 2 weeks. So we go and look at homes, and after a week, you find something that you really like. We put in an offer and it gets accepted and we go under contract. It takes about 45 to 60 days from that to actually close. And that means you purchase the home and you get the keys. So things that happen in between there is that you have your certificate of occupancy inspection. So the township has to come and inspect the home to make sure that the person is giving you a safe home, because that's going to be their important thing to them. You want to have your own inspection because you want to make sure that if there are any underlying issues that you may not see, because you're looking at the aesthetics. So obviously you want to walk into the home and you want to fall in love with everything that you see. So they check windows, they check, make sure that the stove works, the dishwasher, the washing machine, they go on top and look at the roof. So different things that they do with the inspection. They look at the age of the air conditioning and the heating unit and all that kind of thing. So, those things. So you want to make sure that you get that done also. And then we also have to check during that time frame, which is why it takes so long. You want to make sure that there are no liens on the house. Nobody wants to purchase a home that someone has a lien on, and now you have to, as the home buyer, take on that additional expense. So that's something that we do. We call that a title search, and we'll get more into that as we have some future sessions here. But this allows you to make sure that you're getting the home clean and clear. No encumbrances whatsoever. It's your house. Nobody has any kind of title ownership claims except for the mortgage company until you actually pay off that mortgage. And then we get to do our final walkthrough. And sometimes people get to, most people can move out of the home. So when you do the final walkthrough, the home is empty. So you can see, there's no hole that was behind the couch that you didn't see. You get to see that what you are purchasing is indeed what you thought you were purchasing when we do the final walkthrough. And then you go to the closing and you pay your money and you get your keys and the house is yours. So I would say it's anywhere under normal circumstances, 60 to 90 days. And we have some mortgage companies now who are able to actually close and give you your mortgage within 30 days, but then you still have to do all the inspections and all that other stuff. So I would say minimum of 45 days to 90 days we're looking at. So anyone else have any kind of question? That was a long answer, but I wanted to try to take you through the whole process and what you need to do. So trying to see here if I have any other questions. Once again, I want to say now is a great time to buy a home. It's a great time to buy a home. And like I said, if you don't know if you are ready to buy a home, you don't know if financially, if it's something that's feasible for you, give me a call. We sit down, we go through our buyer's consultation with our mortgage rep, and we just verify everything and we'll let you know if you can buy a home now or if you need to wait 6 months, and we'll let you know what the steps are that you need to work on to get through that process. So, oh, I have another really good question here. Are there any special programs that assist with mortgages or home buying? So you have first responders and educators, and absolutely. So you have some cities that actually do programs to encourage people to come and work in their and live in their cities. So they will offer you some special programs for that. You do have some banks. So like you have, for veterans, some of the veterans banks will offer some special programs that assist. So you have some programs where you don't have to put any money down. They might give you like a $3,000 closing cost benefit. You have some cities, and some of these things are going to be dependent on income. But for a decent sized family, you're really looking, you can get a lot of special programs. So there are special programs out there. We can check for your specific circumstance if we can find anything for you. And a lot of the programs that you have, I know Mercer County has a program, and the city of Trenton has a program. Burlington County has a program. So we will just see if it fits your needs and check, and then add that to your down payment. So it's really a good opportunity. And then sometimes, I have a client who we just recently were looking at homes, and because we looked at one home, someone actually reached out to us to say, hey, we have this great program that we think you qualify for, and it entitled my client to a couple $1,000s that would go towards closing costs. So there are plenty of programs out there. We just have to look to see if we can find something that meets your special needs, and it's in the area that you're interested in. Obviously, if you don't want to live in Burlington County, you don't care that Burlington County is giving, $10,000 back if you don't want to live there. So we'll make it applicable to you. But that's a great question. There are special programs, and some mortgage companies offer some programs also. So we can talk to Jay about things, those kind of things. So let's see. We talked about the pandemic. Housing prices are, I would say right now, they're really not going up per se, but homes are still being sold. So what's happening is, people who've been looking for a while are willing to pay a little extra to get into the neighborhood that they want to get into. So the key here is knowing what you want, what they're not a lot of right now that people are, that I always share with my home buyers, there are not a lot of bargains out there. And I'm not saying by bargains, I don't mean, if a house is priced at $200,000 and you pay $200,000 for the house, don't feel like you didn't get a bargain. It's what the house is worth. So you're getting fair market value, and that's what you always need to take a look at. You want to make sure that you're getting fair market value and you're not overpaying for a home. And that's also, I say that's something that's also might be, if you want to get into an area, you might be willing to pay an extra $10,000, $20,000 to be in that area. You know why? Because you're going to be there for 20 years. So guess what? At the end of the day, you get into the area that you want, you're going to make the money back in the 20 years because you get to be in a great neighborhood in a great home. And you might not, if you decided not to move forward with the house because of the $20,000, 10 years from now, when you're still trying to get into that neighborhood, houses can cost $50,000 more. to be in the same neighborhood. So you just got to always take a look at every single thing that's in there. So, okay, I see another question here. Should someone decide to purchase a townhome or condo, how does an HOA fee affect the mortgage? So that is a good question. So for some of us, when I, first bought a house, I looked at other homes. But the thing that I liked about being in a townhome, even though some of us, they tell you what colors you can have your door and all that good stuff. But the good thing about folks who might, at that point I worked in New York City. So, I was commuting for 2 hours a day. So I don't have time to cut the lawn all around the house. I don't, if it snows, I want someone else to clean up, and just make sure that everything's taken care of. And they also make sure that the neighborhood's taken care of. So that's a good thing. A good condo association, they stay on top of everyone to make sure that people want to move into the neighborhood, so they don't, you won't find one junky house. If you do, trust me, they've been on it. And sometimes what condo associations will do with the townhome associations is they'll actually take it upon themselves to do the upkeep and make sure that that home looks like all of the others in the neighborhood. And so I would say that definitely something to think about if you're a person who likes to have the kind of low maintenance factor. And so the HOA fee actually gets paid along with the mortgage, because the mortgage company wants to make sure that you are on time with your payments. So, they are paying that. So they pay the condo fee. Mortgage companies actually now pay your taxes, so the property taxes they will pay, and they will also pay for the insurance. So you get your homeowner's insurance is also covered in your mortgage rate, because they want to make sure if something happens to that home that it's covered and the damage can be fixed. So these are some things that will be included in the mortgage. So if you decide to purchase a townhome or a condo, that HOA fee would be added into your mortgage. So it would be considered a part of your budget. So your mortgage rep would let you know, here's how much money you're qualified for. So you can do a $200,000 mortgage. Taxes can't be more than $6,000. And the HOA fee has to be less than $200. And that will run, they'll tell you what that payment would be. And you will find, figure out if that's in your comfort zone, or if you want to increase your budget because you might want to get a little more home, depending on where you're looking. So that's also a very good question. So I'm going to say this again. Now is a good time to buy a home, people. Now is a good time to buy a home. Give us a call. Let us know exactly what you're looking for. And we can see, is this something that you can move forward with? Absolutely. Oh, we got another good question that just popped up here. Would you suggest buying a fixer-upper for a first-time homeowner? So that's a good question. And my answer is going to be, if you are a person who likes fixing things up, absolutely, great find, because you like turning things into making it your own, adding your own flair and your own taste. That's great. But if you're someone that does not like to even change your own light bulbs, I would not recommend it unless you have friends who have agreed to, and when I say agreed to, folks, I mean they have signed a paper saying that once you buy this house, we will help you fix it up. It can kind of be, a nightmare too. So it really depends on your personality type. If you're a person who likes to fix things up, absolutely. But let me share something with you. Your mortgage company is going to have a say in how much fixing up you're going to have to do. So with mortgage companies, especially for FHA mortgages, and I'm not going to get into the different types of mortgage, but it's a federally funded mortgage, and the heat has to work. The property has to have windows, and you're probably thinking to yourself, well, who would sell something without windows? Trust me, it happens. They want the flooring to be in decent shape, and just generally not a lot of things to fix up. So if you wanted to change paint colors, they're going to be okay with that. But even peeling paint, they don't like that either. So with certain mortgage types, there's certain homes that you're not going to be able to buy that are fixer uppers because your mortgage just won't approve. They will come up with a list of things that need to be fixed prior to you closing. And even if you agree to fix them, you don't want to just fix things that on a house that you don't own yet. So that's just something to be, careful with. But if you are a person who loves to fix things up, loves to make things your own, and you have the money to do that, it's a great opportunity to get into a neighborhood that you love for a good price. So it's definitely something good. So sometimes I've seen homes. I had one that I had a client purchase, and the home was in okay shape, but it needed new flooring. The walls needed to be painted. The kitchen needed to be updated. The bathrooms needed to be updated, but it was in a great neighborhood. And my client, saved $30,000 purchasing the home. And by the time they spent the 15, 20,000 to fix it, they still had $10,000 in equity. So it's a really great thing to do, but you have to be a person who likes to fix things up or have family and friends who can help you fix things up and actually have committed to helping you fix things up. Because just because your brother is a contractor doesn't mean he's going to have time to help you fix your house up, because I've seen it. Now, contractors are very busy right now because we're all home. So guess what we're doing? All of those things that we meant to get fixed, we're getting them fixed now. We're calling people in to fix all those things because now that you're home, it gets on your nerves that the cabinet door doesn't close because you're opening it up, right? We're doing a lot of things. So, somebody asked the question from Facebook. When is the best time to close on a home? Specific day of the month. So usually people like to close in the beginning of the month because it feels like you're skipping a mortgage payment. So if you close in the beginning of October, your first mortgage payment's not due until December. But I would really say that there's really not a best time because there's a lot of stuff happening. So towards the end of the month, it's a little harder because everybody's trying to close and get their contracts in for the end of the month, and people are, your lease is running out on your apartment, so you have to be moved out by the first of the month. So what can end up happening is if you wait too late, you're rushed, and you don't want to do that. So I say best time to close on a home is whenever you're comfortable and confident that you have the time to do everything that you need to do to get into your new home without any stress. But beginning of the month is a great time to close because usually your first mortgage payment is not going to be the next month, but the month after. So you get like 6 weeks of a reprieve to take care of some things and then, get your mortgage in. But like I said, there's not, any day of the month. Closing on your own home is going to benefit you no matter what day of the month you close. So I'm going to say this again. Now is a great time to buy a home. It is a great time to buy a home. So please, if you are thinking about it, just go ahead and move forward and do it because you just can't go wrong. And what I would definitely recommend that you do is sit down with your realtor, with myself, and a mortgage rep, which would be, my partners who I use sometimes now is Jay. And I have a couple of, you can use, if you have another mortgage person that you're working with, we're not going to say, oh, don't work with that person. But what I do say is at least talk to two people and make sure that you're getting the best rate. So you want to do that. Once again, now is a great time to buy a home. So make sure that if you're thinking about it, if it's something that you want to do and you're thinking, I'm thinking I want to buy a home in 3 years, right? Check now. Check if now might be the time. And 3 years from now, if the interest rates are higher and home prices are higher, you're gonna you're gonna only be able to buy less home, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to suddenly, where you could have bought a $300,000 home this year that gives you everything you wanted, along with that pool in your backyard and the great, fantastic deck and landscaping. You want to make sure that you take advantage of that. So I would say that you should definitely make sure that you just do the check. The check is free. It costs you nothing. We can just sit down with you and let you know exactly where you are, and then you can build your own plan based on what information you get. So I have another question here. These are good questions, you guys. Thank you so much. As a first-time home buyer, should you come to the first consultation with an ideal number you are comfortable with purchasing a home for? So that is a great question. So my answer to that would be, what you want to come with is, at this point, you think you know how much you want to pay for a house, but what you really want to be comfortable with, you know what you're paying for rent. You want to come with a number that you're comfortable with paying monthly. And then based on that, you and your mortgage rep and your realtor could come up with a price range that will get you right in that comfort zone. Because you can come, and I've had plenty of clients do it. I have had at least 3 this year that came in and said, here's what we'll be comfortable with paying for a house. So I don't want to pay any more than this amount. And as we start looking, we realize that the price range that they chose doesn't have all of the amenities that they want. So, you choose a price range, but you want 5 bedrooms and a backyard and a pool. We might say, okay, we're going to have to bump up our budget another 30,000. The mortgage rep can let you know what that means for you in your payments. And usually it might mean another $200-300. And you'll say, you know what, for me to be able to have my pool, my 5th bedroom, and a finished basement, I'm willing to pay $300 extra a month. So let's go for it. So sometimes you want to come with an idea. What you want to come with is what you would be comfortable paying monthly, and be honest with yourself about that. And as a realtor, my thing for you is not going to be, I don't want to sell you, obviously if you want to buy $1 million home, I would love that. But if we can get your home for $800,000 that gives you everything that you want and puts you in the neighborhood that you want to live in, then I'm quite comfortable with selling you that home also, because my number one goal is, at the end of the day, when you come home and you are happy and you're loving where you live, that's the memory that I want to have with you. That's the memory that I want you to, have as you go into the future. And, as you tell your friends, hey, you should work with Marva. Those are the things that I want you to be able to do. So as a first-time home buyer, I'm going to reiterate this. Come to the consultation with the idea of what you're comfortable with purchasing a home for. Just the monthly payment. And then based on that, we can tell you what that would equate to in your overall budget of how much you can pay for a home. And usually the mortgage rep actually includes the taxes and that kind of stuff too. So you want to make sure that we do that. So definitely, as a first-time home buyer, come with what you feel you're comfortable with, and allow us to work around your budget and let you know what's available, and how much money you might want to save and all of that good stuff. So definitely, you want to come to the table with something, because we want to know what your needs are too. So that's a great question. So what do you think I'm going to say now? Now is a good time to buy a home. So if you are currently renting, you are living with your parents or siblings or friends, definitely save your money up, but take advantage of the consultation. Take advantage of the free consultation to see where you are and what you need to do to move forward. Because I think the biggest thing sometimes that we do is we're in fear. We feel like, oh, my credit is horrible. I don't have enough money saved. And, you never know what you don't know until you ask. And the good thing about your free consultation is we have seen every single situation possible. So there is nothing that you're going to bring to the table that we haven't seen before. And you don't need to be embarrassed. This is what I do for a living. So, I was a student in college once. I had student loans. My credit dropped after college because I had gotten every credit card that they would offer me. We've all been through it. And we know that life happens. Life happens. So things happen that, you have to adjust to. So we're here to help you and consult. We're not here to judge. We would never do that. So don't be shy. Don't feel like, oh, I want to make sure, you want to try to have all your ducks in a row before you sit down with someone. The best time to sit down with someone is now, so you know exactly what you need to do, and you can plan. You can have a plan that you know is going to work. Because the worst thing, I have had people who just, felt like, oh, I'm going to get enough money and then pay off all their debt, and they come to buy a house. Guess what? They still have to wait 6 months because there are other things that they should have been doing during that time. So just want to say that now is a good time to buy a home. Come for your free consultation so that you can know exactly where you stand and what your future looks like as far as the steps that you need to take if you decide to move forward with buying a home. We'll be able to walk you through that. So, any other questions? Let's see, I'm looking through here. All right, so I got a question here from Facebook. Would checking with 2 mortgage reps to see who has the best rate affect your credit score? So, one of the things that I've learned is when you're looking for mortgages, one of the things that credit companies take into effect is if you're doing these searches within a same time frame, they figure that you're looking for a home, so it does not negatively affect your credit score because it's considered a soft search because they expect you within the 2 or 3 months if you're looking for a home to be checking with you know different mortgage reps. And if it does, it might sometimes maybe a 2 or 3 point difference, depending on how much, how many you're looking at and how long you've been doing it. So those things come into play, but it's really not a big hit. It's more of a soft check. So, but if your credit score is right on the cusp, then you want to be a little careful, obviously. But mortgage companies can do like a soft check. Okay, so here's another question. If you change your mind about purchasing a specific home, when are you allowed to change your mind in the process? So we have, when you first sign the contract on a home, a 3-day attorney review where you can cancel or the seller can cancel for any reason. You don't have to explain who, what, when, where, why. And you get to, keep your deposit and, there's no penalties. So at that point, you're allowed to change your mind in the process. Obviously, if you're doing inspections and there's something major, like the heat doesn't work and the seller is not able to fix it, at that point, you can change your mind about purchasing the home too. So there are a couple of different points in the process where you can change your mind about purchasing the home. But by then, you would have put some kind of investment into the home too, because you've paid for the inspections and you might have paid for an appraisal. So sometimes that's another thing that happens is you get the house appraised and the house is $200,000. You've agreed to pay $210,000, and the house appraises for $190,000. And one of two things can happen. The seller can agree to lower the price a little, or you can agree to pay the extra money if you have it, because it's definitely the house of your dreams and it's where, the neighborhood you want to live in. But if you are limited on the amount of money that you have and you can't come to an agreement, at that point, you can change your mind in the process too. So there's a couple of ways there's a couple of times during the process when you can say, you can't move forward and it's between you and the homeowner, you can't come to a happy median so you can get out of the process. But the thing to know is after we're out of attorney review, some of those come at a cost where you will lose your deposit, your good faith deposit, if the homeowner, the person that's selling the property, is willing to, fix the things that you need fixed and that kind of thing. So you're really looking at attorney review is when you can change your mind and no questions asked. So that's just something to think about. But obviously, that's something that as your realtor, I can guide you through. If there are things that you're, uncomfortable with, we can do that also. So any other questions? How are you guys feeling? You know what I'm going to say right now, right? Now is a good time to buy a home. If you are looking to buy a home, you're thinking about home ownership, the interest rates are at an all-time low. It costs you nothing to just check with us and to find out if now is a good time for you. And we're going to be honest with you, if now is not a good time for you, like I said, we will set up a time frame for you to tell you exactly what you need to do, how much money you need to save so that you can move forward in buying your home. So hopefully you've gotten a lot of information. Want to make sure that you are signing up to do your private consultations. So I am available. I am a full-time realtor. I did not say that. I work with Weichert Realtors in my offices in Princeton. And I am available pretty much. I have a very flexible schedule. So if you work nights, I can talk to you during the evening. I'm during the morning time rather. And if you work during the day, I can talk to you in the evening and I can look at it, we can look at houses then as well as on the weekends. So pretty flexible that way. And my number one thing that I do with people is I'm 100% honest with you, and that's good, bad, or indifferent. So I'm going to give you the news straight. If it's bad news, I'm going to tell you something. If it's something that I think that, you should know, I'm going to definitely let you know and share with you. And I'm going to give you, this is the honest opinion. So even if sometimes, we want to save and we want to get those bargains, everybody, and I will let you know, this is great. If you really want this house, you're going to need to come in at the asking price. But if you don't want the house, then, bid whatever you want and we'll see what happens. I'm going to tell you that too. And I have clients who will tell you that I have, guided them and they have found the homes that they love. So just make sure that that's my number one goal, is to make sure that you find the home that you love. So every time you come home, you just have great feelings and thoughts. So any more questions before we wrap up? I just thank you all for your patience and your time today. And I am going to say this again. Now is a great time to buy a home. Remember that. Now is a great time to buy a home. Sign up for your free private consultation. We will go through your situation and see, what it means for you. If it's something that, you can achieve, do not be afraid to make the call and say, hey, you know what, here's my situation, here's my credit score, lay it all on the table, because the only way that you can know if now is the time for you is if you know and you make yourself, you put yourself in there. And like I said, no judgment on our part, so we really appreciate it. Anything else, guys? All right. Well, thank you all for your time. Once again, I am Marva Morris. I work with Weichert Realtors. I look forward to working with you and your friends and family, anyone that you know that is looking to buy a home. Once we do private consultations, so just reach out to me and we will sit down and go through, what information we're going to need to move you forward in the mortgage process. And whatever questions you have, I can definitely answer. And I primarily work in New Jersey, Central and Burlington. And I do a little bit south, but not too far down, but Cherry Hill and, things like that, Marlton. So I go down to other areas that are close by. So hopefully you have learned a lot today. We are also going to be doing this series monthly for the next, in 2021 to June. So I think our next session is going to be January 13th. I think that is the second Saturday in January, but it's going to be the second Saturday in January. So you will see it. Look out. We're going to be talking about some more things. We're probably going to have an attorney and an inspection person available just to talk about what that process looks like. Thank you guys for joining us. Have a great weekend, and hopefully I will hear from you soon. Take care.